Hello, you beautiful beast.
Hello, gorgeous. How's it going, darling?
Mm-hmm.
How are you?
I am good. Hey,
Hello,
birdie.
Uncle Richard. Hello, Uncle
Hey,
Richard.
birdie. Hey, birdie. Hey, birdie.
You like? Yeah, whatever. I'll better let her out.
Yeah, definitely.
Off you go. Hello, lovely listeners. Welcome back to another episode of the English Mystic Podcast. Today, we're diving deep into the realms of self-love, confidence, and purpose with an incredible guest. He's a life coach extraordinaire, passionate about helping people aged 40 plus, and he helps them discover their purpose and passion in life. So join us in this insightful conversation with the amazing Richard Clarke.
Hey, Kev. Thanks for that beautiful, wonderful introduction. Very, very nice of you to write those very, very kind words. And I'm happy to be here. I love talking with you. We've spoken before on a couple of these things, but I love talking with you. And most of all, I find it easy to talk to you, and I love to share out what I know, as you do, share out what I'm passionate about. We've had a long journey together through the realms of in the online world, so we know each other. We kind of diversified off into our own paths, but stayed straight true to being friends as well. And I love your beautiful journey you've gone on. I remember that time a while ago when we were, all with a couple of other friends of ours, all looking for our each corner of the internet to sit in, and we've kind of got there, haven't we?
We have indeed. I always remember that time in Brighton where we went down there for some reason, and you were telling me about your misspent youth in Brighton. And there was this point where we went into this shop, and there was this pendulum, and it was in the sand, and I moved it, and it went backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards, and it drew a line, and
Yeah.
it then said something prophetic to me that was about, it's the line in the sand. Are you going to step over it or something? And I was like, yeah. And I think that was when I decided I wasn't just going to be affiliate marketing or whatever we were doing at the time.
Yeah.
What's my purpose and my passion? And certainly over the
Yeah,
years,
that was in the lanes. That was in the lanes, and it was one of
yeah,
those pendulums you swing through the sand, and yours just went. Normally they make like this beautiful, almost mandala like
yeah.
pattern in the sand, and yours just swung backwards and
Straight
forwards.
forward, a line. You need to cross the line, and yeah, there's a
And I
line.
think hadn't we already done, like recently, that day or the day before, hadn't we already done some biofeedback work? Do you remember we just biofeedback work with asking your body what you need to release?
Think so, yeah. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I think we've certainly been doing some mindset stuff, hadn't we? And
Yeah, for
releasing,
sure.
and we were like, you wanted to go down to Brighton, and I was like, oh, I'm going to drive you there. And so I fancy seeing the sea, and it was my misspent youth, Brighton as well. Anyway,
Yeah.
so you're not in Brighton anymore. Where in the world are you for our lovely listeners?
So my current corner of the world is my home, actually, and because I've lived in many places, as you know, but I've lived all over the place. Australia, UK, Ibiza, and a couple of other places. So my actual home is called Guernsey in the Channel Islands, which is, some people know, but some people won't know. It's a little group of islands, about 200 miles off the south coast of England, but a little bit closer, quite a lot closer, about 20 miles off the coast of France. That's my home, and that's where I am at the moment, where I'm living and where I'm based at the moment. And Kev, you're equally in love with Guernsey as I am, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. It really is. I always remember going to that beautiful fairy circle as well, and some
Yeah.
mystical stuff there. That was beautiful.
Mm.
Mm, interesting times. Anyway, Richard,
Yes.
in
Me.
your work, in your coaching work, so you focus on people, and it says on Facebook over 40. You help
Yes.
them find their purpose and their passion. I know recently you did a beautiful thing on Facebook. I talk about what purpose and passion are, so we won't go into that, but we can put a link to that so people can watch that because that'd be beautiful. But
Mm.
what inspired you to dedicate your coaching time to these people?
I think Coaching wise, I had gone through a few iterations and reiterations, coaching wise. As we do, it takes time. It takes time to find where you settle and find your niche. And as with everything, and as with what I say to people that are looking for their passion and their purpose, it's kind of it's all around you. The clues are there, and I say that because I focus on that this particular part of the market, if you like, or this particular group of people. Should we say that's a bit less cold? Because it was me. Like, it was exactly me. I was going through life. I was, looking. I had a good life, a successful life, good job in corporate, in recruitment, actually, at the time. Nice house here in Guernsey with my partner at the time. We had a good life. And I always had that nagging feeling that there was something missing, that I had more to give.
Yeah.
And I was, the people I talked to, a lot of people I talked to worry that it's too late. But this time I was 40. It isn't late at all, obviously, but I was 40 and I still felt there's still something more that I've got to give to the world. And I've still got something inside me, even though I've got this good life, there's something for me to give. And that's why I focus on this particular helping that particular group of people, because it's me, it's my experience, it's what I went through, feeling outwardly and inwardly successful, but still knowing that there was something more that was nagging inside me. My purpose need to be properly, uncovered, shall we say.
Yeah, I think many people have. I had that feeling myself. Sort of like 30 years into technology. In theory, made it, had the house, the Porsche, the wife, the holidays in the Caribbean, and but there's something else inside you, isn't it? That you sort of go, it's a bit of a hollow success, really. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I remember having conversations and saying, "Look, there's just something, and there's something more, and I can't work out what it is."
Yeah. And then that's what you do now. You help people find that, which is beautiful.
I help people. Yeah, I help people at 40 plus because that's who I can relate to, or who I relate to most, because it was me.
Yeah.
Who are got some success in life, but still think that they've got something more to give.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And then I'm always watching you on social media because I love the fact you're taking pictures of Guernsey, and there's you standing there in the freezing cold, about to go into the sea. And I've seen that you've done some ice baths, and I often see that's you overcoming many fears. And do you believe that facing challenges like cold swims in the sea, icy cold swim when it's in the middle of the winter, and then these ice baths, do you think that correlates with personal development and finding one's purpose? Do you think it helps?
I wrote a post once, a social media post. I think it was a Facebook post, and it was about, because lots of people, because I live in a small place, people see you and people know you. You've been here. People say hello to you in the street, and all that kind of thing. And lots of people asked me about it. And I wrote a post once, and what I wrote about it was, I know when I'm doing that, even though it seems quite a big thing to a lot of people, but it's not a huge thing, is that you get used to being uncomfortable. You're getting used to putting yourself out there. You're getting used to saying, if I want the goal that I want, I need to step out of my comfort zone and put myself through a little bit of discomfort. That's the first level. The second level is, for me, it's the grounding, it's the mental clarity, and the sense of achievement. Like, whatever I've done, whatever happens for the rest of the day. I don't go swimming every day or ice bathing every day, I just need to add. But it's that level of achievement that I get. Like, I've done something. Like, I'm going to go tomorrow morning at probably 6:30.
Yeah.
And that level of achievement, like, you've really done something already for the day. You tested yourself. The health benefits are aside, you're mentally preparing yourself for challenges through the day, and because you've already had one, and challenges through life, and that you can take things head on. And I've got friends and clients, on island clients, that if they want to, if they choose to, I don't make them do it, of course. If they choose to, I take them through process and get them into the sea, and through a process, and it's it's amazing, and they're still doing it to this day.
Yeah, and there's something very special about swimming in the sea in Guernsey. All those lovely pools that you've got. I love seeing those, and they are flipping fresh. You jump in, you're like, oh.
Yeah, I went last Saturday, and I was like, okay, it's quite cold now.
I remember last time I was there, you dived in, and I was like, "Where's he gone? He's disappeared." And it's like,
Yeah.
then you came out the other side, like right over the other side. I'm like, wow, it's a sea god.
I like the fully immersive experience. That's another part of the challenge for me. When it gets cold in the winter, a lot of people, and I'm judging them, everybody can do their own thing, go in like just up to their neck and wear hats and gloves and stuff like that, which is absolutely fine. And for me, I've got to go in a fully immersive experience. I think it's one step further for me. It's that level of pushing yourself,
Yeah, it's that sort of brain freeze moment, isn't it? And
it's definitely brain freeze.
That's really refreshing.
Too much ice cream head.
Cool. And then I also saw something about your coaching, and at one point you talked about people's diet and the impact of fitness and things like that. And so, could you share some insights into how addressing mental aspects can influence your physical well-being?
Well, what originally came up, my journey through life was always into. I actually started in health and fitness, and a friend of myself and another a business partner or a friend, we actually opened our first gym when I was in my early 20s, like 21 to 22. We come out of that, and I continued that through life. And I'd always know I went through the stages of having a gym and working in the UK and working in other places, and through that line of personal training and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And what I noticed through that, and this is coming up towards the time when I was getting towards 40, I was still doing personal training. I was focusing on golfers actually at the time. But I noticed all through my life, because I was interested in the head, interested in psychology, interested in what was going on inside here, that people would yo-yo up and down, and they would go to gym and not come and give up, and their weight would yo-yo and all that kind of thing. And that my attention started to focus on, this is not to do with the body, this is to do with the head. Yeah. And that's where it kind of dovetailed into, when I had that aha moment about coaching. It dovetailed into, these people are, with the right intention, working so hard in the gym, but actually it switches back, and I realized that it was what's really going on in here. That needed to be sorted. No, I'm not talking about counselling and psychotherapy, because that's, as you know, that's not what a coach is. But a coach, for me as a coach, I found that I can unpick enough or create enough space for people to be able to get permanent results. It's permanent results when they move forward, because it's just a change of mindset before forcing yourself in that conscious mind into your body. I mean, that does work as well, but there's, you can see when the mindset's there and the mindset changes, how things really differ. And I've recently had a really, really lovely lady as a client who's only just finished last week. She's had such a shift after really battling with her weight for a long time. We didn't start coaching for her to lose weight. It just came about, and she had a complete mindset change, and now she's like, everything's in flow. It's just easy now.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's lovely when things like that work. Cool, I love it. And we were talking about your purpose and your passion and all the rest of it, and you once mentioned finding your passion in 1 minute. Are you up for sort of sharing that to everyone so they can find their passion in 1 minute? And it's quite a challenge.
It's quite a challenge. Put me on the spot.
Go for it. Go on, you can do it.
Well, okay, so there's a couple of ways, right? One of the ways I say is, there's clues all around you. And so there's clues all around you. When it actually came to me, when I opened my eyes and switched on my brain to what it was, when I looked around me, the clues were always there.
Yeah.
However, that was through doing quite a lot of deep work to try and find it. So for me, what I like to say to people, if you want the 1 minute version, is write down the top 10 things that you're interested in, that you think you're interested. The thing you could be a passion or a purpose for you. Write down the top 10 things. Don't think about it. Get a pad, a piece of paper, do it on your phone notes, do it on a document, but just write it down. I'm going to say, as a preference, use a pen and a piece of paper, because there is a connection between your brain and actually writing it out that makes a difference. But if you're on the train or the tube or a plane, do it. So write down your top 10. When you've got a top 10, take your most important 5. When you take your most important 5, or you knock off 5 that you think you're less passionate about, then look at those 5 and put those 5 in order of 1 to 5. And then what you've got at the top should be, or could be, because you might not get it right first time, something that you are passionate and purpose is a purpose and you're passionate about. And that's a quick 1 minute way. Another quick way to do it is, when you've got that list, you can start asking the people around you because obviously the people around you are people that know you best, people you trust.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because many times you can't see yourself, can you? It's other people. They're like, oh, I wish you would ask me, and I can tell you. Yeah, and we're often. I remember going through a process where I was told to go and ask 10 people what they thought of a certain scenario, and the answers that came back were so more empowering than my little mind was telling me. And that's I think people don't do that. Often we lower our expectations, and other people have got such higher expectations. It's lovely when you hear that.
Yeah, so I think if you do, I think that was a landmark thing, wasn't it? Yeah, you're talking about. I think it's a landmark thing. I've been through that as well, and I got really shocked by the results. Anyway, that's a sidetrack. No, if you go through that process, quick brain blast, 10 things down, cut 5 off, put the top 5, quickly put them in order, then you've got your top 5 things that you're likely to be a purpose or a passion. And if I'd have done that myself, the top of my list would have been personal development and growth, and which is the basis of what coaching is about.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, I'm expecting everyone that's listening to this have done this, and I'm expecting a load of emails of telling me what your passion and purpose is.
Yeah, people can email you, email me, whatever. I'm happy. There's a list there. I'm happy to go through it with people.
Cool. Sounds good. We talk about fear a lot, and fear is one of those things that comes up. And so fear is a common hurdle for many of us. So how do you guide individuals through facing their fears and stepping outside of that comfort zone?
There's a couple of ways that there are a couple of approaches to this kind of thing. And one approach is full immersion, and I think that's an NLP way, facing your phobias. But what I found works with the people that I attract to work with me, I'm going to say, is that we focus on what we want.
Mm-hmm.
What I found works best is baby steps. I must have said those 2 words over and over again hundreds of times in coaching. It's baby steps. And what I always want is to build on success. And I found through the process of elimination, through doing different things that I do, if you take too big a steps or there's too much of a jump, you're almost subconsciously setting yourself up for failure. So your subconscious mind wants to snap you back and go, see how hard that was, see how horrible it was. Well, we're not going to do that again. Yeah. Whereas my approach is we'll take a little uncomfortable step and a little uncomfortable step and a little uncomfortable step, and we'll get used to it. So what we've done then is we've got 3 uncomfortable steps forward, but what we've done is we've built 3 steps of success. So there's 3 wins instead of 1 jump, 1 loss, and back to square one.
Makes sense.
That's how I get people in the sea as well.
As you're saying that, I'm seeing that picture that you often see people post, and there's like a ladder with lots of little runs, and somebody's running up it easily, and then there's another one where they're 3 times bigger, and the person can't even get their leg up to the next one, and it's too much. So it's true.
And it's too much. And the problem with that, that perfectly demonstrates it, Kev, because the problem with that one is if you want to take a step down, it's a fall.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're heading for a heavy fall as well, and that's exactly the problem.
Yeah,
because it's demoralizing.
yeah, that's true. Cool. I've got one here that there was a picture again on Facebook of you with your hair and you were talking about not conforming to social expectations, and I'm certainly doing that with my long hair, which is fair enough. Yours is a bit more sensible now.
It's a bit short, but it's growing again.
It's growing again. But how does embracing your individuality tie into finding one's purpose, do you think?
The more that you're on your purpose, the more that you find out who you are. And I see people blossom that I'm working because they'll all of a sudden start doing. Let me just take a little step back there. The more what I tell people as when I work with people is to say, you'll be amazed that when you start going down this line and putting a few things into place, other things will fall away, and other things will come into your life. I've heard it, and the same with people. I've heard it being called social shedding.
Right.
But so what it is that you start to embrace and know who you are, so you become more confident in yourself. That's one side of it. That's why I was like, people used to say to me, "Oh, you're in public, you're on screen like this. You should cut your hair." And I'm like, "Well, what's that? What the fuck has that got to do with anything?" And the more people said it, the more I thought, no, I wouldn't, because it's me and who I am. And at the same time, it is just me. I feel comfortable. And when I go through things like social media, like it might be LinkedIn or it might be Facebook or it might be Instagram, I found with a lot of the male coaches, I could tell by their profile picture before I looked at their write-up that they were a coach.
Yeah.
Because I could see the way they were sat, the way they were looking, the way that, not everybody, right, but so many of them, like, I'm not doing that, because with me, Kev, what you see is what you get. When you meet me, this is me.
Yeah, exactly. There's no acting.
There's no acting. And I am me. And so that's what I always wanted to do, to be true to myself. If I'm asking people to live on purpose, I have to live on purpose.
Yeah, so true. And that's true. There's so many people that it's the Instagram poses, isn't it? The face a certain way, wearing certain clothes, which you never ever see them in again. Or they're wearing inappropriate clothes for where they are. Like, you see all these women wearing big flowy dresses in the sea. I'm like, what's the point of that?
What are you doing?
Never mind. Another avenue. It's all strange.
Yeah, no, it's about being true to yourself. It's about being true to yourself, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I think then you've got this thing called pathway to purpose.
Yes.
Can you explain how that helps individuals seeking clarity and confidence in their life journey?
So that pathway to purpose is my signature course. My people, we talked about it a little bit, but the people that I work with, the people that I like, there's just more to give.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people get to a point where they're stuck. They're like, it's stuck. I've got so many ideas, and I could do this and I could do that. That relates back to the list. So if people have got maybe these 10 ideas floating around in their head, and I've got so much to give, like me, I remember having that conversation. It could be this and it could be that, and I'm good at this and I'm good at that. And so, and you do get to a point where it's like, I just can't go on anymore. I need to find out what this is. And that's what people tell me. They get to a stage where they're like, I can't go on. I've got more to give. I'm stuck. I've got all these ideas. I don't know which way to turn. I've tried lots of different things, and none of it's working. And so my signature course is called Pathway to Purpose, and it's exactly that. Yeah. And the way that I find, do you want me to go into like the basic overheads of what it's like?
Yeah.
Just the big chunks. So what we do, because it's called Pathway to Purpose, the first step, or the first part of the process, if you like, and it is bespoke to everybody within the framework. But the first step is getting absolute clarity what it is that lights you up. Right. So that's the part that's like going to get you unstuck. Like, what is the absolute clarity? So we work and dive on that until we find out what the purpose and passion is and what fires you up. Because until we've absolutely nailed that down, we can't move forward. So that's the first part of the process. Second part of the process, once we've got that, we've got clarity, which is what a lot of people say to me. I just don't have clarity. The second part of the process, and we then dive into what are the habits that you developed that are more harmful than helpful. So this is what's happened along the process of your life that's now holding you back. What bad habits have you got? What do you tell yourself in your mind? What habits do you do subconsciously that are holding you back? Because to my mind, with my process, you can't move forward with your new clarity with old habits. We need to uncover them, unlock them, make a new version of you, start to scrub out the old habits and create some new ones. So we can work. So you might say, I don't know, what an old habit might be, the way you're talking to yourself in your mind, or trying to do everything on your own is one I get a lot. I'm trying to do it all on my own. That's a habit that's not helpful because it could hold you back. So those are just excuses. So we uncover those, we work out, and we create some new ones, some new habits. So we've got clarity, we're clearing out old habits. I call it like clearing like the barnacles off the bottom of a boat. Like a boat can't go fast if it's got a load of weed and barnacles on the bottom. So we clear the barnacles off so we can move forward. That's the second part of my signature program. The third part is we then actually make the pathway. So now we've got clarity. Now we understand the habits that are holding you back. The third part is to create an actual pathway. What do we do next? And why I think that works is because you've now got the freedom in your mind and saying, well, I can do this, this, and this. And this is, you can ask yourself, now I know what my purpose is. If I take that step, is that on purpose? And it's easy to go, well, it's not, because it's not to do with my purpose. So you discount it. You can say, am I passionate about that? So you've got it's very easy to make choices about the next step. And that's your actual pathway, which is the third part of the process.
That makes complete sense, doesn't it? Because like you say, we go through life, we pick up so many skills, and then we're not quite sure which ones we should be using. And I had sort of that process as well. And as you say, you find where you want to be or what your purpose is, and like now everything else just becomes like, well, that's great, that's not exciting, that's bright, and as you're saying it, I can see your passion for it as well. It is. I love it. It's making my hair stand on end. Look at my arms. Give me paradigm when I talk about it. And that to me, when I get people, that usually comes quite a lot of the clarity section, where people really get that aha moment. And what I find is the people are stuck, but they're not stuck. There's not something wrong with them. Some people have just got like, I've got so many ideas, I just don't know which way to head. But when we get that aha moment of that's it, it's a great moment because there's a lightness, and that's why I think the clarity part works, is because you get a mental freedom where you start worrying about the 10 other things. Worrying about the 10 other things on your list, because you've got this thing, you now know what it is, and the other things fall away. And so that's why I think that step works. Yeah, it's beautiful. Cool. I love it.
But you found you had a few, different changes with where your niche was, didn't you, Kev? And we've had conversations about it, and things you got your stride. Like people just, this is my point, right? People, when I said look around you, people just need to look around you where you are, and what's behind you and what's around you, to understand that you're living your passion and purpose.
Yeah, exactly. And people need a coach. I think many times you try to do it yourself, and you do end up blocking yourself. It's a bit of self-sabotaging, and then a coach comes along and they stand to the side and they look at it for a completely different way, and they just say a few things, and you're like, why didn't I see that? And it's because you're just so close to it. That and yeah, every coach needs a coach. As they say, don't employ a coach unless they've got a coach.
No, I'm very much like I'm very much for that, and I know you are. I know you've had loads of coaching. I've had loads of coaching, and we've got mutual friends, a
Yeah,
couple of mutual friends. We help each other, and we've got mutual friends that we go to for coaching. And I just don't think I could live. I wouldn't be coming back to living true to myself if I didn't regularly engage with coaching as well, because you're too close to it. You've got your nose too close to the window. Somebody else needs to have a look from the outside and say, this is what's wrong, or this is
yeah,
what's right,
exactly.
or this is
Yeah,
what you should be doing.
yeah. And it takes quite a lot of courage to actually hand that over to someone for them to reflect it back to you. And I think that's a lot of times the fear for people, isn't it? They're afraid to actually hear it. But when they take that step, then that's when the quantum leaps occur. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and like I said, that's when it's that aha moment, which is the quantum leap, as you're saying, or that paradigm shift. When it gives me, when I know I'm working with a client, we made a breakthrough. It's me, because of their energy. It's
mm,
me that gets goosebumps. I get the paradigm shift in my body, and it's a beautiful moment, because even though they not realizing it right in the moment, I feel it. I realize it, with their
mm,
energy is shifted, and I love that.
yeah. That's what makes it all worth it. So
Yeah, yeah.
cool. Well, we are now one third of the way through the year nearly already, which is a bit scary. Time's flying, again, I'm always watching your posts. I'm secretly watching you. I'm stalking you. Uh,
Yes, good.
in one of them, you talked about people going through this common cycle of setting resolutions, saying this is what I'm going to do, and then something happens and they revert back to their old habits. Is there anything you can sort of share that could help people break free from that cycle of making a promise to themselves and then reneging on it?
Yeah, I think what you've got to do, what I often see, um, we've talked a little bit about so far in round terms. What I see people do is they make too many changes,
Right. Yeah.
and so people go, okay, let's just take some, whatever, take some example. We'll just make it easy for ourselves. So someone goes, it's New Year's Eve. From tomorrow, I'm going to give up smoking. I'm going to give up drinking. I'm going to start going to the gym. I'm going to change my diet. I quite fancy a new job. And that to me is just self sabotage. So that you can't keep all of those things going, right?
Yeah.
Self sabotage is a massive thing that I deal with as well. In that number 2 process of my course, self sabotage comes into that.
Right.
In that, those harmful habits.
Mm.
But it's self sabotage. So what I say to people is just pick one thing and get that right. So if you just say, and then don't be really hard on that one thing. So if we took in the example I just said, and said, well, let's just choose the gym for now. Forget giving up smoking, forget giving up drinking, forget giving up, um, you know, whatever the other things were, finding a new job straight away, and changing your diet. Well, that's probably not a bad idea as a secondary, but anyway,
Yeah.
just focus on one thing, that do some exercise, and exercise, and get that right. And then once you do that, you'll probably think to yourself, actually, I would quite like to eat a bit healthier.
Yeah.
And so it naturally comes. And because you're going to the gym, you think to yourself, I'm not really sure that like going to the gym like I did the other day with a hangover is helping me.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll cut down.
Yeah.
And as a secondary effect of just getting the gym right, you've already stopped drinking so much. You stop smoking. You might think it's a good idea to eat a bit healthier.
Mm-hmm.
And if you carry on down that track of just getting these things right, you might think, actually, I feel good about myself. I look good. You might think to yourself, I've got way more self-confidence now to go out and look for that other job that I wanted to look. So I'm looking
Yeah.
good. I feel good. I've got more self-confidence versus I've tried to change everything at once. And because I do that, I fuck them all up. I've given up all of them because it's too hard. I changed
Yeah.
everything at once and I'm back to square one. And where's my self-confidence?
Yeah. Makes sense. Like you say, it's just that wins, getting little wins, getting little wins, getting little wins, getting little wins, and before you know it, you're always winning. And it just then you get to the point where you think, well, I've got these 10 wins. Maybe I'm going to take on that big thing that I've always been afraid of. But you're like, yeah, but I've got 10 wins, so I can do this. And it gives you the confidence. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, I often do that. I make a big list of things I'm going to do, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll pick one. a quick, easy one. Yeah, that right. Done.
Yeah, no, it's about. I think that's what people try to do. I mean, and if we take it just to one more step back, even if we just say, okay, we're just in this example, but it could be anything. I'm just going to focus on the gym. I see even down to that level, people then go, well, I'm not going to start. I haven't been in the gym in 5 years. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go 5 times this week. Well, that's clearly not going to work, right? So even within that one thing, you've got to take it easy. Even if
Yeah,
you went once that week, it's once more than last week. And then
yeah,
you can go 2 times next week
yeah,
or, in a couple of weeks. And so even within just that one thing, you've got to give yourself, you've got to give yourself time to change. It often takes you quite a long time and quite a lot of habit building to get you in the place where you don't want to be. So it is going to take you time and habit building to get you out of the place where you want to be. And that's, and that's why I think you should just be quite easy on yourself and firm as well.
yeah, yeah. Makes sense. Sounds good.
Don't let yourself off too easily as well. I don't want people to start it's okay.
No, it's all right. You can have the chips and the pasty.
I'm going to have a cake and a fag and I'll think about it until next week.
Yeah, I joined the gym. That's enough.
Yeah, I know someone exactly like that. It's exactly happening. The conversation's going on. Yeah, I just need headphones. Yeah, I just need new trainers now, and I'll go. And so it's not working. Not one of my clients. It's somebody I know.
Fair enough. And then you've got this amazing guide, and it says it's called the 3 reasons your life feels unfulfilled, lacks meaning, and how to fix it. And I'm like,
Yes.
wow. Do you want to whet people's appetite to make them go along and get this beautiful guide?
Yeah. So that's a kind of there's kind of that's there's 3 stages to what I do. The guide I've outlined a little bit of what the guide goes into more is the side of where you are right now.
Yeah.
So the 3 reasons why, 3 things of what's going on in your life right now where are keeping you stuck from moving forward, and then it goes on how to fix it. So when it goes on how to fix it, it's a rough outline of what I just mentioned to you, which is a rough outline of my signature course. Obviously, my signature course is 3 months, so it's an in-depth dive. The guide gives you, you can say, well, I'll take this along, and then I need to work out that for myself, and that for myself, and you can go off and do it on your own. As you said, it's harder to do it on your own because the coach is there to look from the outside in and say, a coach is like a professional friend, and it's a person that's unbiased, that's saying, well, you're not doing that right with love. But yeah, the guide is there for anybody that wants it, because it lays out the steps to where you are now and the 3 steps of what you can do about it.
Yeah, and the nice thing about that is it sets the ground so that they can then hire you, and then you be like, come their accountability buddy, and don't let them get off with anything. Because when we try it ourselves, we do let ourselves have too much slack, and that's where a coach comes in and sort of says, hold on a second, that's 3 times in a row you've done that. Maybe you should go to the gym or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think it's more about when something like that happens, it's more about deep diving into how important it is.
Yeah.
Because with this lovely lady that I mentioned before that said that I've recently been working with, and she's gone away and everything is in flow. A few sessions earlier in our process, we talked about how getting fit and losing weight was to her. And at that stage, she was like, because we talked about her going to the gym, and she was like, it's not that important to me right now.
Yeah.
But as we went on further down the journey, it became way more important. So at the time we sort of parked it, but later on when it came back into our journey, it then became really important to her. So it's important to understand where things are and where they fit and how important they are at that particular time to you as well.
Yeah, like you say, it's a journey. At the beginning, this bit's important, and then once you've got that as a win, then something else changes, and you go, okay, I'm ready for the bigger wins, and it is a beautiful process. That's cool. So, what's next for Richard in his life?
Well, I always like to keep myself growing and moving forward. I want to expand. I love doing things like this, and I want to expand out to reach more people, as we all do. So, as you know, Kev, I always want to grow myself. I love to travel. I find I get inspiration when I travel.
Yeah.
So coming up, this year is going to be more travel for me. My platform for helping people is growing, so it's just about continue to grow that and help more and more people. Really, so yeah, that's my focus. As I think yours is, Kev, isn't it? My focus is just to grow.
Yeah.
And I want to help. I'm probably in total of helping people one-to-one, social media podcasts, social media platforms, live things like that. I'm definitely in the thousands of helping people.
Yeah.
That's got to get into the tens and hundreds of thousands, and then hopefully millions before I hand over the baton.
Sounds good. Tony Robbins, move out the way.
Tony's a great guy. He's a great guy, Tony Robbins.
Well, if you can move out of the way, you can come through. So if people are inspired to work with you, what's the best way to get hold of you?
Best way to get hold of me, you can find me on Facebook, Richard Clarke Coaching. Find me on Instagram, Richard Clarke Coaching. Send me a message. If you want to, should I give you the address of my free guide? Would that work, or do you put it in? Will you put it in notes?
Stick it in the show notes so they can press the link.
So there'll be a link to my free guide in the show notes. What it is, you can go in, click on the link, name, email address, and then the link will go straight to you. You can contact me directly if you just want to chat. So yeah, like I said, Instagram at Richard Clarke Coaching, Facebook Richard Clarke Coaching. It's the best way to hold. And you can DM me and I'll come back to you.
And you can chase him down on Facebook and watch him swimming in the cold sea.
Watch me swimming in the sea. There's also there's loads of content on my Facebook page as well. So
beautiful. And is there any last thing you'd like to share with the audience? Any nugget of wisdom?
Firstly, a lot of what people I talk to think that I hear the limiting beliefs. So I'm too old to follow my passion. When that's why I'm like, I was 40, which some people think is too old to start following their passion. But you're never too old. And I think sometimes people fall into the trap that thinking that by following their passion and following a purpose, it means that they have to give away their life. And it doesn't mean that. Sometimes I work with people whose passion and purpose is as a part-time thing. And by a part-time thing, it doesn't necessarily even mean it's a business, but it's what they do outside of their daily life. So it doesn't mean that your whole life is going to get thrown into turmoil. Some people do want to do it for their life, but some people it's just like, well, it's actually what I want to do to give back to people. Yeah. Or, so it doesn't have to turn your life upside down. It could just change it around and point it all in the right direction to give you more flow and get you unstuck in your life. If you've got that nagging feeling that you want to get rid of, this is what you need to do.
Perfect. I love that. Well, Richard, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast.
Pleasure with you, Kev. Always good to see you, my brother, and I'll see you in Guernsey and in the sea again very soon, hopefully.
Definitely. We will do that. It's a date. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, my friend.